Looking for a cutting-edge master's program in business analytics? At the Central European University in Vienna, we offer an impactful one-year English language program accredited in both the US and Austria. Scholarships are available if you apply by the 4th of February. In the program, you will master coding, data analysis, machine learning, and data engineering, along with business intelligence and agile project management. Beyond core expertise in these fields, you'll also practice harnessing AI in coding, analytics, and design. You'll complement your studies with real-world experience through use case seminars and a capstone project with an industry partner. My name is Gábor Békés. I'm an associate professor here at the Department of Economics, and I teach a series of data analysis courses. Hope to see you in September. Let me introduce the three panelists, and again thank the collaboration of Vienna Data Science Group. So we have Wolfgang Weidinger, head of Data Science and AI Lab at Generali. We have Wolfgang Brunauer, co-founder of Data Science Service and ubicube, and Shirley Werchota, SVP Data, AI, and GenAI at Orange Business. Thanks a lot for joining us. This roundtable is to talk about the emergence and the widespread use of GenAI, and I wanted to have a chat about, what is your experience in your organization with GenAI and the use of GenAI. So my first question is, what is the biggest impact in your organization or in your past organizations? What is the biggest impact on everyday work?
Thanks for the. What is the biggest impact? I would say that's twofold. In my opinion, I can give you the nerd answer now, the technical answer, and say, well, it has a really huge impact on how we handle unstructured data. And yes, there are big frontiers there, and I really like that. So that's a technical question, but let's forget about that. Because a second answer, in my opinion, what even I underestimated after all these years is the impact on the broad organization. So this time it's really like you have impact nearly on every employee with some tool, like is it a bot or something else. So I think it's really this time cross-divisional. So yeah.
I've seen a lot of impact as well in every area of the organizations that I've seen. So it's not just Orange Business. I've helped other companies adopt and basically scale generative AI into their business units. And what I see is from startups replacing their CFO or CEO or CTO with a bot, or users, coming up with their own little models tailored for their own issues. So marketing, legal, who knows, basically really everywhere. And I have not seen an area in an organization untouched by it yet. That's what I see.
Maybe my perspective on this. So I'm the founder of an established company, Data Science Service. So we are market leading in real estate valuation in Austria, and I'm the co-founder of a very new company, ubicube, where we try to get into the market, where we try to establish new services. Additionally, I'm working with a few people who I try to help also setting up their new businesses. And in all three perspectives, GenAI has huge impact. So in established companies like Data Science Service, we now make sense of a lot of data that we couldn't before, like customer feedback, and also letting this big knowledge base that has been untouched before flow into our processes. In ubicube, it's just helping us to access resources that we couldn't before. So for example, if I tried to set up a contract with a new customer, before it was a very long and tedious work, and now I just need to ask GPT or other LLMs to set up the basic contract, rework it, and so it speeds up this process a lot. So it helps me in all perspectives that I couldn't do before. And now, really funny thing, so a friend of mine has a startup in stealth mode, and I help him a bit, and he didn't write a line of code before. So half a year ago, he was a therapist, and now he sets up this company, and it helped him to really dig into this area. He's really curious, so he tries to learn, but he was able to set up a working web app within just a few weeks. And of course, he created a lot of technical debt, but it helped him to really create something that was working. And now, so while before we were working like bottom up, so we had to learn how to code, we had to learn the methods. Now it's like the other way around, so you can start with the full product and then try to understand what you have created there. So that's really change of paradigm. Yeah.
What have I done?
Yeah, exactly.
So you mentioned a couple of cases how it impacted business. Let's start and mentioned a couple of cases where you personally were aided by GenAI. Can you tell me a few cases where the business kind of introduced in its processes, which is often difficult because of legal considerations, because of safety? Do you have cases where not only is it helping individuals in coding or whatever, but it kind of makes into an application?
Well,
a potential answer is no.
Potential answer is no, but where I really see the biggest, very fully integrated impact is at a very ambitious and very super interesting thing of document management, which sounds like, oh wow, come on, how old is that? But come on, it's really dealing with a lot of unstructured data, and people are doing that for a long time. And I'm not saying that this is the one solution for everything, because you can have it much easier, but to push the frontiers there for very developed tools there are very sophisticated tools there. I see the impact there really in the real world at the moment.
A couple of cases I've seen, also document management, funny enough, legal department, very similar to the RBI case that we saw today. I've seen GenAI used in predictive maintenance for robotic arms, which was also very interesting.
Tell us more robotic arms, I want to know.
I think they were big ones. Not quite sure, but yeah, I've seen it used there. And where I've also seen it is in documentation of APIs, API landscapes, etc. So to help teams of developers. And I've seen so many use cases really implemented in the processes where parts of the processes are automated. And I remember I was talking to my brother about this a year and a bit ago, and he said he would buy me the most expensive bottle of alcohol in some shop if I could tell him one process where he wouldn't figure out where to use generative AI to improve that process. And truly, I don't know if we continue that exercise, that's not the point, but I've seen it in, I mentioned marketing, legal, IT, I've seen it in, replacing business analysts in terms of requirements engineering. That's my favorite use case that I have seen so far.
So, there are many students here, they will love to hear that.
No,
did it work?
It works beautifully, and it's for a production company in Austria, so Mittelstand. It's not a huge company, but it's also not a small one. And they have seriously implemented a GenAI process that helps the business and IT not have to communicate much with each other anymore. Yeah.
That might work.
So I think so documents are a very good example of usage, and one use case in data science service where we are where we are creating real estate valuation methods. For this we have to get reliable data. Most reliable data about transaction prices of real estate is from the Austrian land register, and what we are doing there is we buy all the contracts from the land register and we read them, and we have done this for several years now. Before we were mainly using regex and other more advanced techniques, of course, but the usage of LLMs has changed it a lot. Still, we saw that it makes a lot of mistakes, so we are using ensembles of methods. So because we have to make sure that that the data is valid and really represents the truth, and so we are using several methods, and in most of the cases LLMs are right, but in still enough they are not. And yeah, it helps us to improve. It helps us to dig deeper. But it's also a warning that we cannot just trust what's coming out of these boxes.
I mean, I'm happy to hear that that this is not yet the end of the world. I will be so next term I will be teaching a course called Data Analysis with AI, and as I'm preparing for it, I see a lot of cases where GenAI is good but not perfect. So did you come across use cases where it was, helpful, but eventually it didn't? It's not a success story in the sense that it didn't make full application.
Well, I wouldn't say in general. The general application, what we all know, is for bots. So technically the typical reg use case, and there is a wide variety there. So
let's talk of failures. People will love it. Humans will love when we talk about robotic failures.
Well, as already mentioned, for some use cases, especially in legal departments, a high degree of certainty needs to be there. So doing that with a reg is challenging, let's put it like that. And there, I would say there are some things which didn't meet expectations, let's put it like that. But nevertheless, sometimes it's up to how you integrate it in the broader process, if it then really brings value. The expectations I see few months ago was like, come on, let's ask the bot, answer is correct, goodbye. Yeah, it was like that. A few months later, expectations are now a bit like, okay, it can help us, it can support us, but let's take that with a grain of salt. So the failures for me were the expectations were 100% and then delivered were like 40. That doesn't mean that the bot was bad. It just was that the expectations were too high, and maybe this field where it was deployed had a very high degree of certainty. That's what I've seen for search and retrieval cases, more or less.
Cool. I have a couple of failures, nice ones. But I mean, I have to preface by saying it's not necessarily a failure of expectation, or there are two cases that I think are interesting. One is the clear failure companies to teach their employees how to use this technology, because it is a technology, but since it's something that we can converse with, people who don't really appreciate the technology tend to think that it's intuitive. Everybody can do it, everybody can use it. So I've heard things like, all right, this was a private bank where they said we cannot use this technology because we have very, very wealthy customers and they want a certain level of communication or a certain level of, basically it's not Instagram bling what we're doing for them. And it didn't take long to show the company that they were basically using the tool very badly, and that was the reason for their failed application, not the fact that the application wasn't good enough or that the technology wouldn't be good enough. Another one that I encountered that I'm still not sure about how to, classify that is using generative AI as a therapist or as therapists. And this came out of a startup by two psychotherapists who were doing an MBA, and both are neurodivergent. So they were interested in figuring out how to use generative AI in order to basically replace the job that they are doing, or the job that they are doing for the target audience that they have, which are neuroatypical people, right? And that, so as far as I know, still doesn't have a good solution. However, still, again, not sure. Is it the technology, or is it the way we're using it and the understanding that we have of the topic, right? So if we're talking about failures here, it's very easy to blame a technology for something that didn't work out. If we're talking statistics, it's easier to, frame that. But if we're talking about a generative artificial intelligence, it's fairly difficult to say that it's really just about the statistical part in a lot of cases.
So yeah, I could talk about failures and probably will, but so in general where generative AI is not the best choice is of course where, let's call it, I think you call it discriminative AI, so the classical machine learning stuff works best. So for example, we are still using, so our workhorse in a data science service is regression and classification models. Because we need just to be able to tune these models to understand how we can influence the predictive quality, to really be like in the lead. And you're not in the lead if you're using Gen AI models. But I agree to you. It's also how do I use these models? So I can also use Gen AI in a way that I use them like like as tying together various parts. So it could be that maybe I'm not very well informed about support vector machines. So in the end, I want to use support vector machines for a certain case, but I don't know how to use them best. So I can use the Gen AI really guiding me to the best usage and iterating very fast. But in the end, the tool that I use would be the statistical method. And so I think it's really all about usage, and all about usage brings me to the failure that I personally had. So it was really quite. I tried to speed up work, and I just used Claude or other tool so it was really a data manipulation task where I needed to scrape data, so download 10,000s of files and prepare them and upload them to Postgres and then do indexing. And probably I didn't design the prompt very well, but in the end what happened was that the data preparation and upload was done correctly, but the indexing was done before uploading all. So it was done like it was 10,000 single files, and first was indexed, then the second was uploaded, then the two were indexed, and so on. So it's a stupid mistake that wouldn't happen to a human usually. But this happened to the AI, and I let this job run during the night, and in the morning I got up and found out that it hasn't worked. So it was stuck in the middle, and then I found out where the problems were quickly. But this brought me to the good usage of AI. Then I said, okay, now I found this real bug, but so tell me where can I get additional performance? And then I got a lot of hints how to improve this, and in the end it was really, really fast. So this is, again, so if you're not experienced, these kinds of things can happen very, very easily. But if you, so that brings me to the basic problem that using Gen AI now could lead to a situation where we do not even spend time to understand the rigorous basics of how the algorithms work, and this could be an overall problem that in the end we have people that do not know what they are doing. Yeah.
So I realize that some people here have a job title that includes AI, right? You have a title with AI. Do you have a title? You have a title with AI. You're a founder, so you can figure out your title. But I guess some people, anyone with a job title that has AI in it? You have an AI. So I think there is this increasing demand on the business side that data science people are now also AI people.
So how do you think these demands change organizations? So what do you see within organizations? Are there changes? This AI is obviously it helps individuals, but how are organizations reacting?
Obviously, organizations react in creating new job titles, it seems. So, as always, but this is also nothing new. It happened now over the last decades. So,
yeah, statisticians became data scientists.
Long debate here. Don't go there, this rabbit hole. No, kidding aside, I would say that what I see in the field in general is it got much more specialized now. For example, now the new thing on LinkedIn is AI engineer. And now there are books about, okay, what does an AI engineer do in contrast to an ML engineer? And I'm like, what? Okay, I'm not sure. But yeah, there are books about it now. So basically dividing it into LLMs and non-LLMs, and then multimodal. And what I see over the years, and I think this is a bit of an answer, is this specialization. So like, when we started Vienna Data Science Group, it was data science was everything. Everything in sense of everything. And then it was like, no, there is data engineering. And there is engineering, and then there is ML engineering, and I can go on now for quite some time. And my point is here, I'm pretty sure there will be new jobs and roles now which were much more specialized. Some are just titles. But for example, for AI engineering, it seems that there is some understanding, for example, broader, that this is a role which encloses engineering just with LLMs, which are special for sure. And not ML engineering. So I see new roles which are more specialized, which have over the years. If that's a good thing, well, I will give this question to to the Shirley.
Is it good?
Right,
Yeah,
right
it's
next
great.
to me.
Everything's great. No, I've seen these AI titles. I mean, mine's a fresh one, yeah. So I'm not very convinced about whether it has anything to do with AI in the organization that I'm in. But I think we saw it before. A lot of big organizations have, unless they're very mature technical organizations, so IT organizations, they have the problem that a lot of their hiring and how they fill these places goes through HR, and HR often has no idea what they're doing when it comes to these areas, other than what the hype words are currently, what they sort of mean and what they get from the teams.
ChatGPT.
No, if they did ask ChatGPT, it might be a little better, right? Like, I don't know. I have nothing against HR, but
No.
But I do see that this, I don't know, running after hyped words and putting those in titles is a phenomenon we've seen happen over and over and over again. It's not the first time it's happening. It is going to keep happening. But what we need to understand, or I think what we need to observe in our organizations is this AI shifting more towards the people and their issues, meaning in the business units, or is it being pushed towards IT yet again because it is something that is called tech and nobody really wants to deal with it? We just want to make money from it, but we don't want to really have to deal with it. So observe this in your organizations, and if you see that, yes, being pushed towards IT again, I think you need to go make a lot of noise and you need to make a lot of people uncomfortable, because that's not the way that it should be this time around. Thank you.
Yeah, maybe I'm not the right one to talk about job titles, as I'm from the startup world. So the way we
you are the right one.
So yeah, we sooner or later we also had to think about this, but in the end we had in data science we have 3 departments. One is where you do mostly data engineering, one is where you do mostly modeling, and one is where you do mostly really the engineering part, so the software engineering part. And so in the end, and these are the roles of the people, and then we have administration. So it's not corporate. Personally, I feel that what Eduardo was saying, I really like this thinking in continuum. So like having this multidimensional framework, because in the end, the job title can also something you hide behind. And so in the end, it should be, you make it much more transparent and measurable if you really assign the sliders to the persons. And also the sliders could change over time. So because if you give a person a job title, then maybe this feels rigid, and in the end this leads to a problem in the organization. So I really like this approach, but I understand that for corporates, you need to have a certain job title. I was working in UniCredit myself, and I know this part of why I left this company.
Maybe one addition to that, what I prefer for the last years and nearly decades is not so thinking about positions and roles and then titles, but really about skills. And to be honest, a certain skill set then maybe has different titles in different time periods, or even in different companies or so on, but the underlying skills are often quite similar. And these skills over the years, in my opinion and my experience, didn't change that much. It's a lot about engineering, understanding data, modeling, what I would call modeling at the moment. And yes, there are new tools, and there are cool new tools, don't get me wrong, but the basic skills which are the foundation for these roles
that we
are
teach
the
here.
same.
That with the basic skills that we teach here.
Basically,
this is high class stuff, you see.
We talked before. Stay in general the same, in my opinion.
Very good. So I think closing an event with Bruce Lee is the perfect way. So Wolfgang, Shirley, Wolfgang, thanks a lot. So we are very, very close to the end. I'd just like to thank you all for coming. I enjoyed it a lot. I hope you had fun. Thanks a lot for CEU and MS Business Analytics for sponsoring this event. And I would like to give finally the floor to Zoltán from VDSG to also close the event. Thanks, guys.